A chicken crutch.
Yeah, or like a peg leg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of crutches, the West Division is a huge crutch for the Big Ten football conference. About a week or so ago or so, Ohio State football coach Urban Meyer said the Big Ten West, which includes Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan State, has like top tier talent.
Yeah.
And the East has
Iowa and Wisconsin, right?
Wisconsin, sometimes Iowa,
Right.
sometimes Nebraska.
Sometimes Nebraska.
Urban Meyer said the Big Ten West is as good as the SEC East he used to coach in. Is Meyer overrating the Big Ten in general? And should anything be done about the division gap?
Well, I'll tell you what. He's definitely not overrating the Big Ten, and I'm going to say that because we looked up the stats on that 2008 championship team he had. He had 2 championships, right?
Yeah.
Over in Florida, 2008, 2009, I think, or was it 2006, 2008, something like that. Point is, we looked at that 2008 one, and there were 2 teams in that division. Can't remember. I have the stats on the phone here. Georgia and Florida were the only 2 teams with more than 10 wins. So it's not like that was a super strong conference.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just that they were the only teams with over 10 wins. It was Florida with like 13, then Georgia. Then the next closest was a team had like 7 or 8 wins.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good conference.
Normally good conferences look really lopsided where there's a group of really good teams at the top, a group of really bad teams.
Yeah.
Or just a lot of good teams.
Right.
And it didn't really look like there were either. I can't
Right. It didn't look like that at all.
exactly back to that point.
It didn't look like that at all.
But going back to the Big Ten, is the Big Ten overrated in general?
Is the Big Ten overrated in general? No, I'm gonna say they're not. You look at where people are putting teams this season on a preseason list.
Yeah.
They have Ohio State at spots 4 through 1. I've seen
Yep.
a lot of people picking Ohio State to win it all this year.
And they're going to be very, very good.
I hate Ohio State. We have a poster of the big house. Stop it. Anyway, we have a poster of the big house behind us here, but I'll be damned, Ohio State's team looks elite this year. They look so good. They have returning players, they have talent, they have size. Some of their NFL coaches are saying some of their coaches are saying
this is the best or the most talented D-line
he's ever coached.
And their biggest weakness is defensive secondary. They lose a lot of guys, but they lost a lot of guys last year.
No,
right?
JT Barrett can't throw at all. I think that's a pretty big weakness.
No, here's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Remember, going into last year, people were like, they just got 3 guys drafted. Who's going to play?
Right.
And then they had 4 guys drafted or something.
Yeah.
So they're going to be fine.
Right. They're going to be perfectly fine. And so they're going to be a top team, top talent. We'll put them right up there with, Clemson's and Alabama's and Florida State's. So that's an accurate assessment of their talent. Let's move down the list. People have Penn State coming in as a top 10 team, shuffling in somewhere around there. And I think that's absolutely correct. You look at their talent on the offensive side of the ball. Yeah. They have a great QB running back combo.
Saquon Barkley might be the most dynamic offensive player.
Exactly. And their defense is still an elite defense. Honestly, I think Michigan kind of stole that game last year a little bit because they were,
Oh, they got quite lucky.
They got quite lucky. 2 injuries to their linebackers?
It's funny how timing works out. I will say this.
I still think Michigan would have won that game last year, but I just think we had a much easier time.
Of Penn State
because
at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Because I watched the Michigan game. I'm like, oh, they're not good.
Right. I didn't think Penn State was good after the Michigan game.
I was reluctant to flip on that. But by the end of the year and before the Rose Bowl, I was convinced that Penn State was the best team in the Big Ten.
Best team in the Big Ten?
And that they should have been in the playoff.
Interesting. I still think Ohio State was the best team in the Big Ten last year. I still think Ohio State, and I think Ohio State's going to be the best team in the Big Ten this year.
I after watching that championship game,
I hope I'm wrong. Yeah.
And they just put the throttle on them in the second half.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was an impressive showing.
It was unlike something I've seen in a championship game from a team that wasn't like Alabama or Clemson.
It was wild to watch because they were down pretty big in the first half. They never looked like out of it.
Right.
Right, and then they just turned it on.
They just ran on them,
and it looked like Wisconsin was completely powerless.
It looked like Wisconsin was just outclassed.
They had nothing.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. So I think that's an accurate rating.
Sure.
And then let's move down. People have Wisconsin and Michigan coming in somewhere from, I've seen as high as 11 for Michigan. I've actually seen as high as 9 for Michigan, but not from like a good site, from like someone's blog. I've seen for most of the good sites, ESPN, Sports Illustrated, they've got Michigan, Wisconsin in that 11 through 15 ranking, and I feel like that's accurate.
I feel like that's
Michigan
fair.
just graduated a lot of players, and 11 to the draft? 11 got drafted? Some ridiculous number, more than any other team. So we lost a ton of talent, and it's expected that we regress a little bit this year. It's expected that we finish a little bit worse, and we've got a really young team. I just think it makes sense to put us at that preseason ranking.
Mm-hmm.
Wisconsin, that's their perennial finishing point in my eyes. Wisconsin always comes out, plays really well, makes it into the top 10, then loses 2 or 3 games at the end of the season and drops down. That's how that's the MO in my opinion for Wisconsin. I feel like they're always good. They're never great. They do go to the Rose Bowl every once in a while.
They go to the Rose Bowl more than once in a while.
I don't think they're going to the Rose Bowl consistently.
When they had like 3 years in a row, didn't they?
Okay, they did have like 3 years. Yeah, TCU, and then they played
TCU, Oregon,
Stanford. You're right.
And they lost all of them, didn't they? No, they won Stanford.
I thought they won TCU. I don't know.
No, they didn't.
They didn't?
Because TCU's linebacker, Tank Carter, on like the last pass, he batted it down. You remember that?
Was that a 2-point conversion?
I think it was.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, you're right. So, they're strong, but they're never the best. And I feel like 15 is an appropriate ranking for them. Or, 13 or somewhere in that range of players.
Mm-hmm.
Rankings. Pardon me. And then, I feel like those are the only teams people are talking about being elite.
Oh, never mind. They lost all 3.
They lost all 3.
Sorry, continue.
Okay. Those are the only teams people talk about being elite in the Big Ten. No one really talks about Nebraska as a top team, even though they made it into the top 10 last year.
Nobody's talking about Iowa right now.
No one's talking about Iowa. So I feel like the Big Ten isn't overrated. I feel like it's very well rated preseason this year.
I will say this. I don't think they're being overrated coming into this year. I think they were grossly overrated last season.
During the season?
People were talking about Michigan and Ohio State being in the playoff.
Well, that could have happened.
I don't think it should have happened, though.
It shouldn't have happened.
I don't think either of those teams were playoff teams.
Either of them?
I really don't think Michigan was. And I think Ohio State looked really weak offensively.
I agree with the Ohio State point offensively. I feel like, I'm not sure.
People were touting it as the premier conference last season because they had 4 top 10 teams.
And then came the bowl losses. And that really changed
I know that's
people's
a
minds.
tired argument, but it's been a valid one for almost 15 years.
Yeah.
Right? They never do well in the bowl games. I just pulled up the Rose Bowl results because we were looking about Wisconsin.
Right.
Outside of Ohio State, Big Ten does not
do well games.
In bowl games.
It's really weird that it's really weird to me that happens because I really feel like the Big Ten is a good conference, and I'm trying not to be biased here. You see some of the best defenses in the country come from the Big Ten. Obviously you have Alabama, who is the perennial, college football team,
right.
And you have good defenses in places like Clemson and Florida State frequently. But, I feel like Big Ten teams should be able to stand up more in bowl games, and I don't know why they don't.
I used to feel like they should, but it's hard to argue with numbers.
Right.
And they don't win.
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
The thing is, I can't figure out why they don't win.
They, when you put like a Michigan defense, you think is a really good defense, right?
Yeah.
We thought it was a really good defense. You put it on the field with a team from down south, they look slow.
They do look slow.
And that's been the knock on the Big Ten for years, and I think it's available.
Kind of like there's a culture in the Big Ten where we figured out how to play best against each other.
Right.
But we still have no capability to beat a team from other regions, which is a very interesting point.
No, they look slower, and when they're playing against each other in the Big Ten, you don't get that.
Right.
Right, because everyone's kind of the same speed. So that's an interesting thing to think about. I don't think the teams where they are in preseason rankings this year are overrated. I think the conference is overrated in general.
That's fair. I think it's this. Last year I said it was the best in college football, and
I would have said third.
I think it's the second best conference this year. I really don't think there's.
Last year I would have said ACC, SEC, Big Ten.
I think the Big Ten is better than the SEC right now. I really do.
Do you think so?
Top teams from the SEC include Alabama. Auburn is still up there, correct? Who else is a real contender this year from the SEC?
LSU, depending on who you believe.
Anyway, my point is, I feel like the ACC is the best conference right now. Just look at all the juggernauts they have.
Yeah.
But I still think the championship is going to go to the SEC because they have the single best team, in my opinion, which is Alabama.
Right, and that does cloud our judgment a little bit.
Right. We look at the championships.
We value conferences. But it's funny that Ohio State doesn't cloud our judgment about the Big Ten. Ohio State is really the only one that wins consistently.
Yeah. They really are. In the postseason. Except for last year.
Well, I don't think they should have been in it last year.
Yeah, I don't think they should have been in there either.
Yeah.
Especially since Michigan. No, I'm not going to get on that.
Especially because Michigan lost.
Should have won.
They lost.
I'm not even saying.
Lost.
I'm not even saying that last call is the reason Michigan should have won. Like I've gone.
Oh yeah.
I'm saying Michigan had that game and they just let it slip through their fingers. That's what I'm saying.
I think
we were controlling that game and we pulled off the throttle offensively. That's how I viewed it.
I think Michigan was better, which is an interesting thing for me to say because I don't know if I've said that
in a long time.
In my entire lifetime.
I think in our entire lifetime, at least our entire sports lifetime, we were consciously viewing sports.
I don't think
obviously
I've
like
ever
1990.
said this Michigan team's better than Ohio State.
Right. Last year it was, and we had the chance, and we were up, and we blew it.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
So I don't want people saying, "Oh, Bernie, you're talking about that last call." I'm not. I'm talking about Michigan's play. It was our
first
fault.
down. It was the first down.
Well, I don't think it was a first down. They called it a first down, so it was. But I don't think it was. But the play that angers me more than that play is the play beforehand when, what was that guy's name?
Curtis
Samuel, right, tip of my tongue. Curtis Samuel was 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, running left and right, and we just could not contain him.
Yeah.
And then we let him run 10 yards downfield.
Yeah.
If we stop him on the play before, it's a field goal, and the game keeps going.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of that. Let's move on to our next topic.